starting at number 20, the final guy to make your top 20 list, 2024 second-round pick, Jack Berglund. And
he barely made it.
What surprised me, I guess, about his inclusion on this list, not that he made it, but two guys drafted after him higher on the list, Gill and Ruohonen. Spencer Gill and
Ruohonen.
I'll never get that one.
We got that directly from the Flyers and from him.
Hopefully he gets traded. But Spencer Gill and Heikki Ruohonen higher, despite being drafted behind Jack Berglund. I remember when they took him, it was like, oh, he's big guy, can get to the net. 6'3". It looked like there was to me, draft philosophy this year of finding guys, whether it's through, they're great on the give and go, or they're just sneaky and can get to the net, or they're fast, whatever it was, dudes who can get their asses to where they need to go. Like the places where goals are scored, they figure out a way to get there. Berglund, one of these guys, but he has some holes in his game, apparently.
Yeah, I think where I fall with Berglund, and like the telling thing here, I believe, if you look at our graphic that we have for people watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'll read it. I ranked Berglund 19th. Alex, who has watched him significantly more than I have, because Alex is the European prospects expert, ranked him on his list 24th. Because each of us ranked 25 players. Alex has watched him a lot, and he ain't particularly high on him. That concerns me. What I saw at development camp watching him up close is that there's some skills there, to be sure. He has puck skills. His shot was surprising, was better than I expected it to be. He can shoot. Man, he's slow. He is real slow. And like Ruohonen, when they drafted both Berglund and Ruohonen, both guys came with skating concerns. Ruohonen, you watch and you're like, he's not skating at an NHL level yet, but when he gets going, he moves pretty well. He's got a pretty decent stride. The agility isn't great. He needs to work on his first step, but you're like, they could work with this. He could get better and become a decent NHL skater. When I watched Berglund, I was like, yikes, this dude is a plotter. He is actively slow. And perhaps there's actually some interesting little tidbits that we got from Brent Flair in this interview that'll be coming out. I guess he's in the forward, so it'll come out on Thursday. Not to give away the farm here, but apparently he may not have had the right skates for like 2 seasons, and they may have like just identified this.
That's I want that. I need that.
Like, is he infigured? Like, he's the Chateau pick?
The short explanation of what Brent Flair told me in this interview, and this is on the record.
On the wrong feet.
I'm not revealing anything. Apparently, one of Berglund's feet is a little bit shorter than the other, and he was already using like skates that were a little bit big even for the bigger foot. So the other foot was like 2 sizes too big.
That's such a good reason for someone to not.
How did he never tell anyone this? I don't know.
He's just uncomfortable, and he's like, I guess this is what
my feet are slipping and sliding all over the place. I don't know what the problem is. Doesn't everyone experience this? No.
If he ends up being the Flyers like 2C, and it's like, oh yeah, man, he's great on the power play, scores like 25 goals a year, like nice power forward.
They
for
fixed
us.
His skates.
Like, if this ends up being the reason they got him, this is one of the great only the Flyers stupid crap that happens to this team.
But like when I do these, I do these interviews with Flair, like usually I come in and I know what questions I'm going to ask, and I usually, unless something particularly interesting pops up, I don't usually pivot and ask a question that I didn't plan to ask. But the question I asked was basically like, I watched him in development camp. He looked real slow. Why do you think you guys can fix the skating? And he unprompted brought up the skate thing. And I had to ask him a follow-up, like, how does that even happen?
Like, did they know that when they drafted him? And they were like, don't tell anybody. It's just his 2 big skates, and we're going to get this gem? Like nobody knows?
I'm just picturing, like, he shows up to the skate zone, and they're, like, fitting him for skates. He's like, these are they're like, no.
Like, wait,
Like,
what are you even wearing?
Do they have him in like the little toaster oven that they put you in? And it's like, these still don't fit you, bro.
Do they push on his toe like your mom at the Payless shoe store?
It's a fascinating tidbit.
This is one of the funniest things
That's
you've ever
incredible.
told us.
Honestly.
That's absolutely outstanding.
But to go back to Berglund for a second, I still am not terribly high on him. I was much more impressed by Ruohonen. Spencer Gill, I think, has higher upside. And even after the draft, when we interviewed, I believe it was Flair, he more or less said that, like, we see Berglund probably being like a third line center. And to me, this pick was
great.
I don't dislike it as much as I dislike the Adam Ginning pick, but it's a similar kind of idea where I personally dislike the philosophy of the pick. I would have rather them taken a bigger swing.
Yeah.
With a second round pick. And like that's why I like the Spencer Gill pick. Spencer Gill might be a bust. He very well might not pan out. But he's a 6'4" right-handed shooting defenseman with legitimate puck skills who is just raw as hell and is like skinnier than Travis Sanheim was when he got drafted. That to me is a big swing. If it doesn't work out, I can at least say, well, you swung for a guy who, if he hits, could be a really unique, good top four defenseman.
Yeah.
With Berglund, it's like, well, if he hits, he's a decent 3C. Like, I don't know. I would have rather taken a bigger swing on a guy.
Yeah. If that's your predicted ceiling, why take
like
him
to
there?
me, Ruohonen is like, yeah, he could be a 3C, and that's fine with a 4th round pick.
Right.
I'm cool with that in the 4th. In the 2nd, rather take a bigger swing.
I get them wanting maybe a sure thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're in the Flyers position and doing the rebuild the way they're doing it, we've said all along, at a certain point, man, you're going to need to take a risk. And this doesn't feel...
And in fairness, I think they took a risk with Lushenko.
Maybe with the 1st round pick, it was like, yeah, we're really rolling the dice here.
Yeah.
And so like with their 1st, 2nd round pick, they go, you know what? Another Scott Lawton is fine.
Let's get a guy who we're confident will be an NHLer. I'm not as confident he's going to be an NHLer, but I believe they are. And that was the thought process of that pick. I like the Gill pick better. I like the Ruohonen pick better. And then when I watched all 3 of them on the same ice at development camp, I was far more impressed with the 2 guys who were taken after Berglund than Berglund.
We all silly like the mayor.